Sairam, let's start the study circle with 3 Oms. Om. Om. Let's start with a prayer. Dear Swami, we are so grateful to be able to meet here together in your presence today. While we are here together studying your word in your Bhagavata Vahini, we ask that you open our ears and hearts to whatever it is you want us to learn. Please speak through each one of us and help us progress in our spiritual journey. Jai Sai Ram. Sai Ram, everyone. Sorry about the delay in starting. I don't know. My computer suddenly asked for things that it never asked before, so I was kind of confused and had to restart. So I hope you all can hear me. Okay. Please feel free to speak up. Just as a reminder, please mute your cell phones and let's be respectful and start our discussion. All right. We'll just start with reviewing the last session. We had a very energetic discussion on chapters 34 and 35. 34 was all about Krishna's playful acts, and we talked about how the analogy of Krishna's actions of stealing butter or separate, are are divine and why they are divine. And then we talked about the butter analogy and the divinity of Krishna that also reflects in the people around him, in the gopikas and and the gopalas. And then we talked about Krishna being a Purna avatar, as in he was always aware um, of his divinity, and how his acts should not be confused by regular actions, because they may not, in the worldly sense of things, they may not make sense. And then we moved on to talking about Krishna destroying the demons and how we can work on our own negatives in our lives: anger, greed, jealousy, etc. And we moved along to talking about Krishna as a leader, with his friends and with everyone around, and how he led with wisdom, and how the similarity to what Swami did, have always having clarity of thought and giving clear directions even from a young age. And then we talked about how to lead, leading with love, being humble, be an expert before you guide others as a leader, and how it is important to listen and always be self-reflective, with one's actions if you want to lead, or if you are the leader. Then we talked about chapter 35. We did discuss about the devotion of the gopis and the gopas, and we talked about how that bond between the gopikas and Krishna is basically like, can be compared, or is like the Jivatma and the Paramatma. And those stories that we hear cannot be compared at any human level, because it is something that is more, it's more advanced in terms of the spiritual, in spiritual world. And so that doesn't make any, there is no comparison to the human sense of things that we have today, at least in this day and age. So after that, we did talk about a few perspectives on how it is important to hear all perspectives of these stories, and how does it help us in our spiritual journey. We did. We did talk about how introspection really helps. I know this. I didn't realize the font is so small. I apologize, but basically, we did talk about how the introspection will eventually lead us to the question of who am I. And we ended our session with a video from Swami Sarvapriyananda talking about practice of devotion, and he also brought up the age old relation between the Gopikas and Krishna and how they were engaged in him throughout their lives. So with that, I think that completes the review. Does anyone have anything to add? Okay. So now I think today we'll move on to the next chapter, which is chapter 37, I think, and 36, the comrade and the king. And once we hear this chapter, we will then move on to a discussion, and then I do have a video which talks about the topic of the day. So let me go. Please let me know if you cannot hear the video. I mean, I think I did everything right, but I just want to make sure that everyone can hear. If you can put it in the chat window, if you can hear, or at least text me if there is a problem, please. Thank you.
Bhagavatha Vahini, Chapter 36, Comrade and King. O Master, I am eager to hear about the boyish pranks, games and adventures that Krishna as the cowherd lad Gopala did engage himself in with his comrades of the Braj community in the groves and wilds during the 11 years he spent in Vrindavan after reaching there from the Mathura prison where he chose to be born. When Parikshit prayed thus, Sukha was rendered very happy. He smiled and said, "It is impossible for me to describe to you all the leelas of that divine Gopala, each of which fills the mind with sweetness. The Braj cowherd boys who shared that joy were really blessed. The Lord will not pay any attention to the external distinctions, the name of the individual, his nationality, his caste, his profession, his attitude. Whatever may be the attitude with which a person approaches him, he will welcome him, draw him near, fulfill his wishes and confer happiness." That was the nature of Gopala. Ever since he was left in the home of Nanda by his father Vasudeva, Krishna granted great joy on Nanda, and the grateful shouts of victory echoed and re-echoed in that home as a result of the child's divine prowess. He grew day by day with increasing charm. He shone as the most endearing treasure of the mother, and played on her lap, toddled and crossed the doorstep. He held the finger of his father or mother, and venturesomely walked a few steps. Though the parents tried their best to hide him from view, so that the many ambassadors of death that Kamsa dispatched without respite could not get at him, he would somehow make himself available. He used to go forward to meet them and introduce himself to them. Who could keep Gopala, the provider and protector of the universe, hidden, and where? Who could carry him off, and how? O Parikshit, it is all divine sport. Growing day by day, he started going to the sacred banks of the holy Yamuna river with children of his age from the homes of the cowherds and played. The parents endeavored to stop him but could not. Like his comrades, he drove cows to the pastures. Really, the eyes that saw the entrancing scene when Gopala was in the midst of the herd of clean, sleek, happy cows and calves are worthy to be called so, for they saw the sight of all sights. Picture to yourself, O king, the spotless white herd of calves and cows and the dark divine boy, Krishna. They were drawn to him close. They would not leave him and stray away, nor could Krishna, for he loved them as his own brothers and sisters or as his own children. Let but his hand touch their backs ever so lightly, the calves and the mothers forgot all about themselves, opened their mouths, raised their tails, hung on their tongues, and lovingly licked his face and hands. Gopala, too, often clasped their necks and swung to and fro in great joy, his eyes closed, his face beaming with a radiant smile. The cows playfully butted at his soft body with their just emerging horn ends. On the ever-fresh, ever-spring sands of the cool Yamuna, he played about gracefully and gladly, regardless of night and day, with his friends, the cows and the cowherd boys. The parents had to send servants to seek them out and bring him with his followers to their home. As the days passed thus at home and outside, he grew up into a charming boy. Though the parents did not want him to, he unleashed the cows and calves of the stall, drove them along the route taken by the village cattle, and put them too on the common road to the verdant pasture ahead. Like the other boys, he had a stick leaning on his shoulder, a length of cloth wound round his head. Walking along with supreme self-confidence, he appeared as magnificent as a royal land cub. He played in fun with his companions. He sang aloud the sweetest tunes with the left palm covering the left ear. At this, the cows who were voraciously munching the green grass would stop as if too entranced to continue. They stared delightedly, listening to the divine melody. They stood with ears alert, lest they miss the message calling them to bliss, with eyes half closed, as if they were immersed in the depths of dhyana. The cows that had nuzzled at the udders, eager to have their fill, stood still, drinking instead the divine strains of Krishna's song. It was a thrilling scene for all who witnessed it. O King, I cannot tell you the number or nature of the Leelas of Gopala. All were wondrous and awe-inspiring. All were full of Ananda, conferring Ananda. Sometimes he would challenge his comrades and swing round the stick in his hand so fast that the eye could see no stick. At this, the comrades gathered around him and prayed that they might be taught how to turn it so. For him who turns the universe with all its contents so fast around, turning a stick is no special accomplishment. It is a feat that no teaching can impart. The poor fellows did not grasp this reality behind their playmate, Krishna. Oftentimes, he played on trees the game of hunt for the thief. When the pursuers climbed behind him, he took refuge on the topmost branch, a branch so thin and weak that it will swing when a squirrel walks on it. He could not be captured at all. Yes, indeed. How can he be caught by one and all? Only the pure at heart can capture him. To all appearance, Gopala will be with his comrades in the woods and groves. He will be playing with them, making them happy with many a practical joke and hilarious game. He will move with them, his hands placed endearingly on their shoulders, but in a moment he will disappear and be away from the sight. Meanwhile, he would confront his companions in a clever disguise, so perfect that they will deem him to be a stranger, with whom they shall not talk. But he will surprise them with a burst of laughter and exclamation, "It is I! It is I! You didn't discover me!" This threw the boys into amazement, or sometimes even fright. The day passed thus. When dusk fell, he returned to the village with his friends quite innocently, as if nothing has happened to disturb his equanimity. On certain days, the mother insisted that he should stay at home and not go into the pastoral groves. Those days, the cowherd boys and the cows and calves walked heavily with grief, slowly to the grove. They lay under the trees listless and alone, not caring to eat or drink, but with eyes longing for the arrival of Ananda Krishna, who alone can put life into them. Many a day, the wicked uncle Kamsa sent his emissaries, the ogres, in disguise with playing things and delicious sweets. The boys gathered round the peddlers and enquired the cost of the things they desired. But the ogre was intent on the chance to catch Krishna. He was looking out for the moment when he will come near. Krishna did not cast his glance on the toys and sweets. Krishna used to wait until evening and then approach the wicked men, allowing them to believe that he had fallen into their trap, but only to fall upon them, pull them to pieces and throw the carcasses afar. Such adventures filled the people of the village with amazement, fear, and wonder, besides delighting them at the happy escape from danger. Another day, the village was packed with carts full of mangoes. Krishna knew that this was another evil plan of the ogres, the emissaries of Kamsa. So, he took the fruits and killed those who brought them. He felt that it was not proper to refuse the fruits that his uncle had sent, so he accepted them. But he did not send anyone back alive to inform him what had happened. That was the fate of all whom the uncle dispatched on his evil mission. O king, from the day the Lord took residence in the Braj region, the place was changed into a treasure house of the goddess of wealth and welfare, Lakshmi. It appeared as if she was scattering her graceful smiles all over the place. There were thousands upon thousands of cows. There was no shortage of curds, milk, or butter. In fact, there was such a plenty that they did not know how to consume all they had and how to keep or preserve them for future consumption. Gopala loved the cows so much that he could not tolerate any idea of throwing away the precious gift. That was the reason why he was pleased to receive them into his own stomach. This act of grace is the basis for all appellation, milk and butter thief. Observing that he was being named as such, Indra decided to demonstrate to the world that Krishna was indeed God come on earth. So, he manipulated a situation where Indra Puja was cancelled by the people of Braj, where Indra retaliated with heavy downpours of rain, and where Krishna had to lift up the Govardhana peak in order to shelter the cowherds and cows from the onslaught of the downpour. It was all part of a play. Indra had no anger, nor did he entertain any idea of revenge or retaliation, nor would Krishna ever advise people to give up puja. Such miracles were decided upon in order to make them identify the divine already amidst them. Such incidents confer the view that nothing can happen without an underlying purpose. Meanwhile, Parikshit intervened with his joyous exclamation and said, "Oh, how sweet are the leelas, the sport and pranks of the divine boy, Gopala! The more we hear, the greater grows the appetite. Master, let me listen to a few more and attain the state of liberation."
Okay, so that was chapter 36. And so I thought we should focus on Krishna as a friend. Most of these Gopalas played with him, and they enjoyed his presence. And so, how can we cultivate, I guess, friendship with God in our daily lives? I know there is no Krishna, amongst us, or maybe everyone is one and we don't recognize them. But either ways, is it easier to love God as a friend? And if we say, uh, God is our friend, which Swami always says, God is your one and only friend. But there are certain, I guess, characteristics that we need to develop before we even, call ourselves as a friend of God. Sairam, can people hear me okay?
Yes, Saram, we can hear you. I thought you were going to say something more and then sudden silence.
Oh, no, no, no.
We weren't sure whether you wanted others to pitch in or.
Absolutely. Okay. So sorry about that. Yeah. So just let's talk about Krishna as divine. I guess divine friendship is what we should be focused on. At least that's what I thought was one of the topics that from this chapter. Yeah.
See, Sairam, I think even Swami has said
Mhm.
the way if we are going to treat or in other words, if we say we have so many deficiencies, so how can we consider God as a divine friend? If we are having that, that's not the right approach. So we should always treat God as a friend and confide in because and also friend, Swami has said that many times. Friends can be one time they can be a close friend and then next time they can be so far, so distant, so a divine friend is the only true friend. So with God we can always confide and tell just as whatever we would want to share with our closest friend, dearest friend, who has always our welfare or the best interests. Who else other than God who can be that friend? That's
Right.
I mean, I think we should always share whatever, consider him as a friend, and he will definitely be our true friend. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Is it easier to love God as a friend? Would that change the dynamic of, that's why I said, how,
Yeah.
do you reverence, versus respect versus just being a friend? We don't always talk respectfully with a friend.
Yeah, you don't have to be respectful. You can just like, in fact, Mira or Mirabai or addressed Krishna as a child, as a as so you can always address God in the most um, in the most appealing form, most in that form that appeals to you most. So, as a friend, definitely you can address God in that manner, share everything with that friend, and definitely he or that divinity. It need not have a form. That divinity is going to have that effect on us. Basically, what we are doing is when we address the friend, that Atma, Paramatma that is there within us is the one that we are communicating with. And so that there is no barrier that in that communication between us and our own Atma that is within. So in that communication, the benefits are going to be there for us in terms of reducing our anxiety or problems or worries or in all that. I think it's beneficial to address God as a friend at all times.
Sairam.
Yes, Sairam.
So it's a very good question, but it all depends on how we pursue our relation with God, because we know that some people consider him as a guru, some people friendship, and some people as God himself as a God. So whatever the relation, some people treat him as a mother, father, in all different relations. So whatever the relation it could be, it all depends on our thought process. So most of human beings, So we are not perfect. We always, feel that we are doing something which is not liked by God, right? So that's where we always try to address him above the pedestal. Hey, I am doing all mistakes. You protect me. You protect me as a father. You protect me as a mother. Something like that. So to be in a relation with the God as a friend, we have to be more elevated and more open. Like, if you are really feeling that you are pure and you are not committing any mistakes or sins or something, then you are more open to God, right? You will think him as a friend and then because that's how the relation builds, right? So based on our thinking, our behavior, it can be their friend, it can be their mother, because when we think them as a guru or mother, we are keeping them above, and we are always thinking that we are not better, so that's why we always look up them there,
Mhm.
seeking their guidance. But to be a friend, then we have to be little more elevated in terms of our behavior, the activities we do and the thinking what we do. So as we progress, we can think him and whatever the way we want, but our behavior should be according to that perception what we are.
Mm.
Sai Ram.
There.
Sai Ram. Uh, so I'm just reminded of an example of a talk I heard some time ago. Um, I don't remember the name of the gentleman, but he used to work with the World Bank, and I think he was from Singapore or Malaysia. Or, he actually traveled from India to another country and stayed there. But he talked about a time when he went to but he had one. He was a devotee of Swami and he was very close to Swami. But he also had this habit of drinking beer. He really liked beer.
Mm.
So Uh, when he went to Puttaparthi, Swami called him and said, of course, in Puttaparthi, he tried to actually, be his, not his self, but according to, how you are supposed to live there. So one day, he asked him, don't you miss your beer?
Mm.
So, and Swami said, he said, Swami, but I'm trying to, get out of that, but I'm not able to do that. He said, no, no. So he actually got him beer and said, "Okay, don't worry, you can drink beer." And so he started, doing that, and then slowly it started, you know, Swami was allowing him to drink. Then he kind of reflected back and said, maybe I shouldn't be doing that. So by doing what Swami did, he actually transformed this person
Mhm.
by his own self thinking that I should not be doing this. And
Correct.
he corrected himself from that habit. Instead of, hiding it from God, he was able to actually develop an attitude to get away from it. So sometimes, when we have a problem, we have to approach God with full, faith and not necessarily with fear and what He might say or anything like that. So you have to treat with as a friend and say, I have this problem. How do you tell me how to take care of it? And so I think in that's what we do with friends. We have a
Mhm.
problem. We go and talk. Something we cannot talk to other people, your boss or your family, you go and talk to your friend and try to find how to solve the problem. And in that context, you are more supposed to be more open, and that's what I think he likes.
Yeah, Sairam.
Saira.
Yeah, let me put my 2 cents worth. Friendship with God. Yeah, it is a very um, fulfilling. Actually, it can be a source of strength,
Mm.
comfort, and it can lead to personal transformation. Friendship with God. When you see God as your friend, like Shankaran said, other people before him,
Mhm.
that we get, there are similarities with the human friend and divine friendship with God, right? We
Mm.
get love and support from our human friends also, sense of love, support, companionship.
Mhm.
And definitely we trust, okay, we trust in the Almighty as friend. And then our close friends also we trust, and we have some intimacy. We, like he said, we share our good things and bad things, whatever, at the deep level of trust, right? We are very comfortable, and we don't mind being vulnerable in front of God or in front of a close friend to share
Yeah.
our thoughts and feelings. We
Mhm.
know we are not going to be judged, right?
Right.
And then we have guidance. A good friend will guide you, not looking for any personal benefit. The same way, God doesn't benefit from anything, but we benefit from the encouragement, the guidance from God. Right?
Mhm.
When we pray or meditate, we get some messages. We think, okay, this is the way I can do with God. With the human, of course, we can talk it out. So that way we have similarities. Also, we have some differences between these two relationships,
Mm.
right? Even in the book, we just said Krishna, he doesn't discriminate, right? Anybody as his friend.
Yeah.
Everybody is the caste, creed, whatever. In the first page, it says that, right? So God is like that. God doesn't discriminate based on your color, your race, or
Yeah.
your position in life, right? Everybody is equal. But whereas with friendship, we can be selective. You know, we are
Correct.
not really close friend with everybody we see. We are very particular about who we can share and be friends with.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
also, human friendship is between equals. Something has to be in common or something we can share, things like that, right? And God is not equal to us. He is the creator and we are his creations. And also, friendship can be influenced. Human friendship can be influenced by so many factors, and that human friendship may not be consistent. It can come and go. Today you are friend, tomorrow you are not a good friend,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
Anything can change, but with God it is unconditional love and very consistent. Okay,
Mm.
it's only up if we don't have faith, we leave God, then it is on us. It's not from God's side. He never leaves us,
Yeah. Mhm.
right? And friendship also, we have like shared experiences, stories, that is how we develop friendship with humans. With God, it's a divine nature, we cannot fully comprehend and emulate. Like in the Krishna and the Gopa and Gopis also, they see him as a friend, but at the same time, he has these extraordinary powers,
Yes.
like they cannot even fathom.
Yeah.
Right. So those are the things, you know. So yes, it can be friendship with God. God as a friend will be very close, intimate relationship. With a friend you feel equal. With the guru or with the, if you look at them as father and mother, you have a lot more respect and reverence than you can be free with God as a friend. You can just pour out your heart. You feel good if
Yeah.
you do that.
But we cannot, I mean,
Mhm.
so we cannot really so sometimes our mind is impure. I mean, we have all kinds of thoughts that we really don't want to share even with as close a friend, but
Mhm.
God does know about it, even
Right,
though we don't share, right?
right, right.
But as a friend also, we try to put our um, best foot forward, like we are always the best ones, right, on this earth.
Mm,
The others are the ones at fault always.
mm,
So we don't share those things, is what my point is. Even as a friend,
mm.
God, we I don't think we would bring out our evil side, quote unquote, to show him, to speak about it rather. Yes, we
Well,
may.
does God needs you to say
That is where
allow?
I'm.
See, that
Yeah.
is where the
Mm,
that omnipresence of God, right? He is God.
correct.
See, if it is your human friend, we have to tell them. Unless we tell them, they won't know, right? But with God, like Shankar was saying, he was drinking beer. Doesn't God know that he was drinking beer? Or whatever it is.
Mhm.
See, that is where the conscience come to prick us, that we are worried. Okay, I did something bad. God knows it, right?
And then that leads to my next question on intimacy. Like, how do you balance reverence then with intimacy? So if you're a true friend and
Yes.
you talk as a friend, then
No,
how will you respect?
right,
Will
right.
you be able to? Yeah.
Yeah. See, even with we are, now I'm saying like divine friendship and human friendship, right? So with our friends in that human level, uh,
Hmm.
even if they are very close friend, they know everything, but still we have the reverence towards people. We are not losing it at any time. Unless it is a really an evil act or something for somebody, then we lose respect for them. But the reverence is always there as a human nature with friends. We have the courtesy, the reverence, everything. Okay. And that is the same with God also. Or God even doesn't want you as a friend to have such reverence that put him on a pedestal. He wants you to be as close as, a friend.
Right, right.
Equal,
Yeah,
equal,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Swami says that all the
Swami
time.
says
Yeah.
that, right? Exactly. He says that, but still we cannot sit equally next to him or, treat him, put our hands on his shoulder. We will never do that.
Right.
But the beauty of human friends is we can do that, but it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that we don't have reverence for our friends.
I
Sai
don't know.
Ram,
That kind of intimacy is hard, I feel. Anyway,
Sai
yeah,
Ram,
please go
one
ahead.
thing,
Yeah.
talking about the intimacy. So that famous guy from Radio Sai you really like. I forget his name now. All the
Arvind,
videos you play.
Arvind.
Arvind,
Arvind.
how can you
So
forget?
if many all the videos with Arvind has shared with us, what you
Yeah.
see is actually a display of this reverence and intimacy. He will
Mm.
all challenge Swami, right? I mean, in
Yeah.
many of the cases he says, "Okay, I'm not going to come here, until you give me, come and give me darshan or something, you know."
Yeah.
So that is intimacy. At the same time, you are actually showing reverence. So
Right.
that is what I think is required here.
Yeah. Subhadra, please go ahead. Thank you, Shankarji.
Yeah, Saram. So, to all that has been said, I want to add that if we try to practice uh, joy and no fear, then I think we'll be able to bring reverence and intimacy with God. Like if anything that we do, often we try to do with the fear. Like, oh my God, if we do this, this is going to happen. We have to get that out and say no. We need to be joyfully doing things which is going to make God happy. If we start practicing that, I
Mm.
think that would bring. So even if we have done some mistakes and all, we should just like forgive ourselves, but not be
Mm.
fearful. When we keep fearing things, I feel that's when we just like try to detach ourselves and constantly
Mm.
put all that stress, and then I think we lose our intimacy with God. That's my thought. Sarah.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Sairam, if you look at the 9 paths of devotion,
Hmm.
Sakyam, which is friendship,
Hmm.
comes just before Atmaniveda.
Last.
So as Dhananjay had mentioned, it
Mhm.
requires a little bit of spiritual, probably. I think we are all will have all the 9 paths. It doesn't mean that when we reach there we don't follow any of the other paths. But
Mhm.
I think Sakyam is it requires a little bit of what do you call um, that faith and that confidence in ourselves as a spiritual being. If we are aware that we are also spiritual beings, then probably that Sakyam becomes a little bit easier.
Right.
Then the next is Atmanivedana. So I think, I mean, it's definitely friendship with God is beneficial for our spiritual growth. It
Mhm.
requires that unshakable faith that He is the true friend, and once we have that faith, then we can tell God as a friend whatever we have, whatever we challenges or whatever defects we may have. Who else
Mhm.
to tell that other than God as a friend? So he's definitely going to be, because he has the best, our best interest in mind. He doesn't have anything for himself. So even among human friendship, what is in me, that question may come for a friend, but this God is definitely not going to have that. He's completely selfless. So I think treating God as a friend is, in my opinion, that is the easiest. And I don't see that, as Uma said, I don't think that is going to uh, play into the reverence part. Definitely a close friend, we can revere the friend as well as treat that divinity or God as a friend. Both can happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sairam, I also want to add, let's take each one of us, and analyze ourselves. We have, let's acknowledge that we do have some good qualities. Let's not, be focusing only on shortcomings. So, what we really need to do is actually, on the good qualities, thank God that we have them. So treat him with reverence, to say thank you for keeping me away from these things, and making me live this life. But I do have some things which are not, I would really like to get rid of. Those you go and say, yes, I know that I'm, good in these aspects, but I still have these. And these are the ones which I want, help from you. So you are actually maintaining intimacy as well as the reverence. You acknowledge that you have these problems, and then you go and open up to him with intimacy to say, hey, these I need to get fixed. And at the same time, the reverence comes from acknowledging that, hey, I have these good qualities and thank you for that.
Right, absolutely.
Sairam, Rakhi here. Um, uh, yeah, as Shankaranji and Venkatji said, for me, in general in life, we will have a transition over so many friends coming, leaving, departing, and all. But over the years, we all build up that spiritual devotion or spiritual, like we connect to God as a friend. In my personal case, I would say I discuss with God as a friend, even if I don't see him. He might not be there for me to discuss back, but definitely over the time we build that relation, that he guides you with all the vices, but you develop that utmost faith that you would be in a position like to discuss anything with him. And sometimes in friends we discuss, but God is not there. We think he doesn't listen to us, but we can be the best friends to share, to be angry, to be upset, to be anything with him actually. And you, over the time, that grows in such a way that we will be getting the message in real times for our betterment in his way. So that's my take, like belief in that. Yeah.
Thank you. Does anyone have anything else to add? Okay, because I do have a small, please go ahead.
Everybody has said in terms of faith and religion and things like that. But I think if you consider, is just in taking light, in the sense that, in the high tech sense, it's pairing. The signal comes when you have a good pairing. So signal means communication in terms of connecting to God. And if you have that level reached where you are able to pair with God, then you can communicate with God easily. So in both those situations, reverence and friendship can be associated with that link which you get to communicate to God.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you.
Sairam, about the third bullet, I don't know if you're going to show the video for...
Yeah, so this third one, actually the next chapter also talks about a lot of miracles that Krishna has had. So I was thinking maybe we can talk about this along with chapter 37.
Okay.
But if you have anything to add here, more than happy we can discuss it. It's not,
Now, what I wanted to say, I don't know if maybe we can share that later. But what I wanted to say was that if we are intent to do something for the benefit of Sairam, somebody is unmuted. Okay, for the benefit or the welfare of the community in their dire straits, then definitely that divinity will enable us. It may sound like a miracle, but it will happen. It'll the whole thing will work towards meeting that. The intent has to be pure, and it should be for the welfare of the community. So that's what I wanted to share about that miracle. That particular miracle of lifting Govardhana is for the welfare of that whole Nandgaon. And similarly, I think even I could think of when Vasudeva, when Krishna was born, him taking Vasudeva across the river to the Nandgaon. That again is a miracle. All those things are possible when the whole purpose is the welfare of the people, and selfless. I think if we have those two, these miracles will definitely happen. It'll the whole nature will work around that. That's what I wanted to share.
Yeah, thank you.
Sairam, this is Sai Prashant.
Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So those are beautiful points. Shankaranji, Umaji, and all of us spoke about how to be, befriend God. I also have a small point. So while we are trying all these points like reverence, attractions, or whatever that we wanted to do with God or behave with God, what I believe is removing the consciousness of being respectful with God just because for the sake of the open world. I mean, just because for the sake of society. I'll just small example. So if we want to be friends with Swami, as Umaji mentioned, we can't sit with Swami and we can't put hands on his shoulder. But provided or given a chance, we all want to do that. We all want to play with Swami, or even we all want to share everything with him. But what we are trying to do is we are just limiting ourselves just because on the outer world we are to be mannered, we are disciplined and kind of thing. But in the inner world, in the self, in the Atma level, we should not limit ourselves to talk to God, or we should not limit ourselves, or we should not be in a consciousness that, oh, if I scold Swami now, will people think something other? I mean, like, so we have to talk openly. That's why Swami always keeps saying heart to heart and love to love. So we all should pour love, anger, or anything that comes to us to any guru or any master that we are directly connected with. In that way, what happens is, from that side also the openness comes. In a video that I saw yesterday, I think it is of Amesh Pandey or someone, says that Swami asks him to stand near, 3 feet distance, and asks him that the distance from that side and this side is same as 3 feet. Distance from Swami's feet to the devotee's feet and devotee's feet to Swami's feet is always same. That's what he tries to convey. So that is the similar way it is to be with the heart also. Right. So what I'm trying to simply say is eliminate the boundaries and talk open-heartedly with any master or any god. That's
God
it.
in any form. Yeah.
Any form. And just to conclude it with a joke, for me and Swami, apart from August 3rd, the last week, every time I scold Swami and he gives me things. Only August 3rd, without scolding anything, he gave me something. That's it.
Thank you for sharing. Anyone else have anything to add?
Yes, Saira. When we say God as a friend, that we feel close, the intimacy is what? Just feeling close, that is why we open up. When you see him as a friend, you trust and you say, okay, I can tell him anything, I don't have to hide anything, kind of a thinking. So that is important. In that way, seeing him as a friend is beneficial for us, for our sake, that we are more open. That's how I think about it. And in the dream, yes, I have had dreams taking a walk with Swami or playing, all that. So that is one way we act out our desires in that way. I want to point out one more thing in the book about Krishna coming in disguise, and the other, they didn't recognize him. They saw him as a stranger. They didn't even talk to him or something like that. Right? And then he says, it is I. He comes out, in his real Swarupa, and he says, it is me. And he was laughing. I thought, that is true. That point here, I think Krishna says, I am in everyone, but we assign this particular name and form, then only we see that person as, as God or what, right? Otherwise, we don't see the divinity in everybody. That's what I thought from that.
That's a good point. Yes, I actually.
So that would be one of those miracles too. The lesson message he conveys through miracles. He can take any form in front of his friends, and then they don't recognize him.
Yeah. Absolutely.
There was one important message that as we read through the story, in the early days, his parents were trying to hide him, from public view, because they were, thinking that, Kamsa will come find him.
Yeah.
But then he always came to the front. And then, he started running, into the open space and playing with the rest of the children and things like that, even he was very young. There is a message there. And the message that I am seeing is, that is how we need to treat our children. The children that are born to us, or we are just caretakers, and but we try to say, don't do this, don't do that, and uh, trying to kind of protect them from, we think what is danger, but for them it may not be. We kind of stop them from exploring all the possibilities they have. So I think that is one message I'm getting from that.
Yeah, very nicely put, Sairam. Actually, that is that is very potent. Actually, interpretation of that, I would say. Thank you.
Sairam, this is Shobha. I just wanted to say, this is my perspective, of course. I mean, God is in every type of relationship for us, right? To me, it seems like, He's definitely my father, my mother, my guru, my protector, my friend, my brother, my sister. I can see Him in every role, literally interchanging, this to that. And we all know that He's always there. Like there's no separation for Him, with all of us. So his relationship is always constant. We can see him in different roles. I don't think we have to see him only as a friend or only as a guru. They're not mutually exclusive. He's in all those roles for us, I think.
Yeah. Similar to the point that Venkatji was making, that we 9 types of bhakti, we do a little bit of everything. It is not very defined.
And none of them and the 9 types of bhakti I heard from someone is that one is not superior to the others. They're all equal.
It's not. Yes.
Although they're named like that, 1 to 9 or whatever, it doesn't mean one is better than the other or superior than the other. So they're all equal. And
yeah, I think it is up to us, whichever way we connect. Okay, whatever form, whatever relationship, what makes you connect with God. That is what more important than giving a certain name and form, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You connect to him in all these levels, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's the point I was trying to make. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I was just thinking about what Umaji just before this said about that aspect of when Krishna comes in a disguise. People don't realize. I think that is true with us every time we expect divinity or God to come in a form that appeals to us or that we have been visualizing. Any other form we don't consider. That literally means that we don't see God in everything or every form. So that
we also, I mean, just being very honest here, we also don't behave like gods, even though Swami has repeatedly said. The reason that I say that is our ego comes in at places that we really, later in life, when you reflect, you kind of figure out, oh my God, why did I have to act that way? It was just silly and stupid. But at the end of the day, our ego drives at that moment. And I think that's also another reason why, seeing God in everyone becomes so hard for us um, to even engage in. We go in with a particular thought process. For example, a priest in the temple is always revered. We always, think of him in the highest level possible. At the same time, even if there is, I don't know. I mean, yes, Sri Ramakrishna was not the best looking or the best dressed person. He did not even dress in the right way. Neither did Ramana Maharishi. But people were, very less people were able to relate to that, just because of the shape and the form, because we always have that expectation within us. So that's all. I just wanted to bring it out there that we are not, we always see the differences. Yeah, please go ahead.
No, I think if we train ourselves, I think it's all a question of sadhana. I think if we train ourselves to treat others as divine, it's just like how we are going to treat God as our friend. If we consider every other being as divine, because we are all spiritual beings in the human form. So if we consider each and every person as divine, if we tell ourselves that when we see somebody, he's divine, he's God, if we keep training ourselves to think in that direction, I think all those things will be, I mean, nobody is perfect. So we are all, if we are going to reach a level of perfection when we can consider that person or see the divinity in that person, I think that may not be that easy. My opinion, it's a question of training ourselves. That's what I think.
Absolutely.
Also, Sairam, we cannot keep thinking or looking back of what we did, because which is not in our hands. And even though we are not able to see the divinity in everyone, we can still, as Venkat just said, we can try keep changing ourselves. So every single time we make any mistakes or anything that comes with us will help us to train again back, climbing step by step, rather than uh, giving excuses. Maybe.
Yeah.
Saira.
And giving up. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, I think we are at time. Sorry, I started late today, but we'll end with Om and Three Shantis, and we can look at the life application. This is a breath-based reflection of inhaling, I walk the path of Dharma, and exhaling, I surrender all outcomes. And this is something that is easy to practice. Even if you don't remember these words, that's okay, as long as you can focus on your breath, and take it from there. On Saturday, we will be continuing our study circle, and we will be starting off with a meditation. for our satsang. So with that, let's end with Om and Three Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sai Ram, everyone. Thank you for your participation today.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Sai
Thank
Ram.
you, Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.